I also am a friend on safe na the wall. Hope so na they do well. I hope say life is okay for you people. If it's not okay, I hope you find avenues, or that God creates avenues for it to be okay with all. So today, Friday, the 2nd of September, Friday the 2nd of September 2002. So wetin e mean? It means say tomorrow, the 3rd of September 2002, officially na Mama Salone, the process of election kicks off. Wetin that dey mean? It means say tomorrow, the 3rd of September, the registration for votes na the next coming election where they don set am for June 24th, 2003. They begin tomorrow. I will come and rub mouth again pandande lily bit as the program they go on. But listen, don't forget, as usual, let's have our H2O with us. And also today, una go say, Matilda, today na white cup. Yes, na white cup, because guess what? I am a bit under the weather. So instead of drinking water or cold water, I'm drinking tea instead. But still na liquid, right? I make sure say I keep hydrated. Yeah. So before we sit down inside the program proper this evening, I want to make we all get a minute of silence, because a minute of silence for them them we lost their life na the mudslide we happened during that ABAB rain we kind of free tongue last week. Do ya make we all take 1 minute and remember we brother sister picking them we lost their life na that massive rain day and landslide will happen. May God grant them eternal rest. May God receive their souls, them usai niaram. So let us take a minute of silence, please. May their souls and the souls of all the faithfully departed rest in peace. Amen. So, me fumble them this evening time, and no one can sit down for talk, but waiting cause the mudslide, the implications of the mudslide, waiting for do and waiting not for do. If you've been following the show, if you've been following the Salone issue show, then definitely you know for say the problem na Salone when it comes to land, when it comes to proper planning, when it comes to proper building, when it comes to zoning, when it comes to deforestation, when it comes to pollution, when it comes to una, I don't beat that drum there, I don't beat them, I don't beat them, I don't beat them, I don't beat them, I don't beat them. So here is something. I'm not here to point fingers, say this person not doing work, that person they not doing work, and this person not do this, and this person now that cause this, now that cause that. We all know waiting they go now we country. To some extent, in as much as we all can sit down, they play dokunu, we all know how for fix waiting they go now we country. We all know waiting are the contributors them. We all know waiting are the team them where they abog the country. We all know say Freetown is overcrowded. We all know say Freetown is overpopulated. We all know say areas then are Freetown where people are not supposed to go live. When are they then they go and go live? We all know that. We all know for say people side and their way they're not supposed to cut them. But because of the greed of mankind, now that they happen and they go cut the secret. We all know for say dirty. Now just last week I was talking about the filth at Longley Beach. Just last week I was talking about the degradation, the deplorable condition na Longley Beach. Well, I say all the minister, all the heads and parastatals, they all they go there. They all they see the place. They all know the place. They all know how the place was like. But they are all turning blind eye. Even some of them get restaurants at that beachfront today. Some of them get places then at that beachfront today. But how you go operate business. Now a place, allow building permit, allow construction for going at a place where you very well know for say, it form part of the protection zone of your ecosystem. It form part of the protection zone of your environment. But yet, greed and pride would not allow you to do what is right. Yeah? So, listen. Something and there we no need for talking. Something and there we no need for talking because we don't talk and go. Freetown not the only place where when aside for live. Other places than they. We dey go to other countries and we dey see how then they do zonings. We dey see how then they do proper zonings. They see how then they do distribution, allotment, urban, country and city planning. We dey like, we dey admire, we dey enjoy. But when we can't so we own, we then say make we do them. Somebody go put in foot on side. Somebody go master person on side. Somebody go do this. Somebody go do that. And you know what? It even brings me to something. Make I just take 1 minute. Make I talk about this one also. Some people then can say then create them because they don't get money. Now that make them not the bill. Now because then create them, they don't get money or they not waiting and call and take them picking and generation. Then they may not send them go England, send them go America. This that. And then they land and they. This that. Then create the need for sell their land and then create and get property. This that. But their properties have been stolen. Me not say for any other Creole because I go talk for waiting me no. For the families then when me link to inside Creole, we get property inside Freetown, we get property inside the peninsula and then Creole village them. Also because they don't get money, and that make them not the bill and them place them dey. Also because they don't get money and they can't afford, and that make them not they put them massive building, massive structure, and then when they, especially they want they get land them up the hill them. No, because there is something called generational wealth. There is something called legacy. Not to when me they no mommy for bill each do all thing. There is something called me great grandpicking, and great grandpicking them. Yeah. So you get for left something for them. You get for also know who say you they bill for protect the environment. So for most Creole people, they're not for money left then a roadway make them all the bill na them properties them. Or we make them all the bill na the land them. Now because of them then the way then they think, but like me son and my family first of all. The house when me granny and me grandpa die left, nobody no get mind sell that house there because it is written in the will to my children's. And everybody honor that. Where he die, none and in picking and no mistake, ever mistakes and they go sell. Now we the grandpicking them and great grandpicking them, none we not go ever mistake say we they go sell or we go sell. Because it is clearly written. They wanted that legacy to keep going. They wanted that name. They wanted that structure They wanted that lineage. Who they can also with the see them property they wait 100 years old and say that this family property on it belongs to this name. We admire it. Why can't we have such things? Why can't we have such things for ourselves? And why can't we enjoy? Why can't we also appreciate the value in such things? So no, let me take a minute to say not to money left Creole people then I would we make another bill fiti fata balaba ebelebe. No. It is called discipline. It is called self-worth. It is called generational wealth. It is called generational legacy. If me papa or me auntie them, sell the place where me grandpa left or me granny left, like for say now, so I no go sabi them place then day. I will be destitute in the sense that na me now go look for new land for go buy. Or new place then for go buy. Whereas I came from a place, whereas my inheritance, whereas my history belonged to a place. And I know that place because me granddaddy, great granddaddy no sell, me granddaddy no sell, me papa no sell, and me self no go sell, and me pikin they no go sell. That is what you call legacy. Anyways, if I begin with this thing, we not go done today. We not go done today. We not go done today at all. Now that make an okay left for talk about land business or anything that has to do with remotely has to do with land, the conservation of land, the protection of land. But you know what, like I say, may the souls of the departed rest in peace. Something needs to be done, and soon. Something needs to happen because this is not sustainable. Every few years, people are not going to die no more, lost their life senselessly because some authorities, some people in power fail to control, fail to push structure, fail to put amenities, fail to make, the necessary, the conditions possible for make people go believe, say, you know what, I can be in Kenema and thrive just as the man in Bo. I can be in Kenema, Bo, Kailan, Pujeon, Potloko, Kamakwe, and Binkolo, and be okay just like the man in Freetown, in Western area or Western urban, or Eastern. We go to other countries, we see that. We enjoy. We applaud them. Why can't they come to ours and do the same? But listen, even as we go further, I want to divert my attention to something else. I want to say a very, very big kudos to the Old Girls Association of Esto Fidelis. If some of you don't know what in Esto Fidelis, it means saying the great, the best, the most magnificent, the most elegant of all, the creme de la creme, as we called it back in our days, and we still remain the creme de la creme. Okay, if you don't know, guess what? I went to convent from 3 to from 5. So yes, I get bragging right. So yes, the creme de la cremes, they came together and then say, listen, this to shift business are not good for we picking them. So we have space in that compound. We get space. So usai the canteen mean day for una we be in the go school now. I sat my O levels in 1997. Okay, in 1997. So class of 1997 no it at the talk, but class of before 1997 no it in the talk, but what happened in a convent after 1997, ask me, I not be even the Salone self. So to ask me will be I know the last time I was in Salone, I even forget to take the picture of the entire structure. I think I just go there because I was invited to a function. I was delivering the keynotes, and then after I was invited to the foundation day and what have you, I chose not to do my pass, instead I videotape and go do the live. Attend the live, not to be something safe na Facebook then, but then I was able to do live then, and record the whole procession and what have you, and it was very lovely, it was very nice. But listen, well done, kudos to all the old girls of the convent Australia and content. Okay, none of my school days will ever be before me, and that those are the pens, those pens of my school days that will ever be before me is what I am using now, and I will continue to use till that time when God say put down that pen. Okay, so kudos to the Old Girls Association for erecting this new block, this new building that will now enable pupils of St. Joseph's Convent to have one shift instead of two shifts. That is progress. Kudos to now. Bravo, and bravo. That is very, very good. I can't let the day pass without give kudos to the famous blue and pink. They are all over the place. They are scattered all over the globe, and they are doing wonderful and powerful and mighty things. Okay, so now make we go to something else. Before we sit down at the show proper today. It's always good for I can let for you now then quick I'm a column. Then quick summaries then also for make people catch up with some of the things. Then so one press release come out na do. When I remember a few months ago there was something that leaked where they say airport and they can begin charge then they can begin charge $25, then they can begin charge $25. And the Minister of Information come on do. He said no, not true. He said this was done without even consultation with them. That it is a third party that pulled out this press statement. They have nothing to do with it. And people, I have always said in Sierra Leone, where there is smoke, there is surely fire must come out. Wherever you have seen a flame, not to flame self, you don't see that small smoke, you don't see that thing with like cloud small, you don't smell. Wait no more, that fire must burst. It must burst, and that's exactly what has happened few months down the road. Around that same time day, where this rumor come on, I don't know, in Pelican self back camp, if Adion say, then they change price that they've been operating for years, and because of the high fuel cost and what have you, they have to change their price to accommodate for inflation and blah blah blah. Well, Pelican fuel price don't go down. How far? The boat back, same thing. So it go from now the speedboat they charge 60, I believe saying at 65. No, correct me, you know where they go Salone. You know where they run one Salone, they run Salone frequently, no, correct me. That's 65. Then the Pelican now are 50. And well, I mean, with the commoners, we all take the ferry, right? But on top of that, on top of buying your ticket, which can almost sometimes come close to $2,000, and for the most part, especially if you come on at the side and outside with it, the Americans sometimes get it a bit cheaper. The British also sometimes they get it a bit cheaper. But we where they come off from the North Pole, we don't get it cheaper. No. You are lucky if you go even find ticket for go Salone when at $1,800. Most of the time, flat out, it's $2,000. No joke, it's $2,000. Okay, so on top of what you don't go pay that $2,000 they force for just your air flight, can't pocket money it, or can't nothing it. You also now get for member for put $50 in a corner. $50 for where you enter the land that we love, and $50 for where they come out gonna do from the land that we love. Okay, so this press release here so now come out na do for affirm a lot of waiting we've been done say that listen, it is either you nip it in the bud immediately and it never resurfaces again, or tell people and the true right from the go, like where the American can say right from the jump, tell people and the true right from the jump so they know what's up. So basically this press release here so come out na do. The press release come out na do the 26th of August, and I'm waiting this Na so the press release go. Press release say, it's a press release. Salone elect press release, so I know one day see country where they do press release more than Salone. I swear to God, we like any half thing. All even catch coach self for make them come out Adona net, then they pull press release. Anyways, as what the press release go. The press release say payment of airport security fee of 25 US by inbound and outbound passengers at the Freetown International Airport. They don't say $25 or say that $25 then they cover you where you come and where you go. No, where you come you they pay $25. Where you go back you they pay $25. Landing at $50. Now imagine almost people in the kind size Salone for the day. You go 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. Make I say that plane day. Now them big Boeing then where they sit 200 or 200 and something people. Now you go 50 times 200 and something people. Hey. Interesting. Don't forget that already inside your ticket, these surcharges are already embedded into your flight. When they buy tickets, not no more the airline on they pay for. When they see all the breakdown of the different surcharges that one they pay for. So you have already paid for something, and now when you get to the place, you're going to have to pay a surcharge again because of something more they go. They say the Ministry of Internal Affairs wishes to inform all inbound and outbound passengers, particularly those using the Freetown International Airport in Lunge, that effective 31st August 2022, the government of Sierra Leone will cease to pay the security service for Secure Airport. Excuse me. And that passengers will meet this cost of the said services. So government now they pay again the security fee, even though you don't pay that they embedded now you flight you ticket, okay? You already embedded now the ticket. Let's not get it twisted. But government say now that charge they pass them over to the passengers them, so the people the way they take the flight. He said the public will recall that since 2016, the government of Sierra Leone has been meeting the cost of security services provided by Secure Port at the Freetown International Airport. However, considering the adverse impact of the world economic crisis on our economy, the government can no longer meet the initial service cost of $40 for each inbound and outbound passenger. Accordingly, the government of Sierra Leone engaged management of Secure Port to renegotiate the cost of their services per passenger. The renegotiation fee for both inbound and outbound passenger is $25. The agreed fee will be paid by each passenger through an online platform/digital payment system to be developed by Secure Airport. To be developed, so it means for say they not even develop the system. It's when you are putting something in place, when you are implementing something, it means that all of the necessary tools needed should have been in place or should be in place by the time you launch. Now, not only that me feel to say this na a kata business. This is a ringing. This is a you know a bunch of banditry now in the going right now with this type of system. Secure Airport. If you have a deal with these people and they are not able to meet or satisfy the deal you have with them, do an open bidding. Go back to the free market and do an open bidding, and let those who are, this is why we have the free market, and this is why in the free market there is competition. Those who are able to come, then when they were able to reach who say you waiting you they offer, that is why there's an open market. That is why you do open bidding. Yeah, then go come and then go bid. Then go bid, then go put them waiting and call, and then let the best man win, but not to pauper by force, because now this person you don't they work with. That means for say if tin tranga, if tin rough, it no matter how you they grease No matter how you dey grease the ordinary man, but by force you must continue with this person. Yeah, so that is not how business runs. That is not how business works. When the market not agreeable for meet your expectation anymore, you move your business somewhere else. You move your business somewhere else. When Airtel no dey give you the service where you need, or the service where you provide, or the data, or the power bank, or whatever you people call it, where you need, you dey move go Africell. Or if Africell no give you, dey move, you dey go find other providers. If Bell does not meet my need, I go to Rogers. If Rogers does not meet my need, I go to Shaw. If Shaw does not meet my need, I go to Kudos. If Kudos does not meet my need, I go and so on and so on. Not to power say because you don't deal with this person, that means for say you need for continue with this person. And then at the expense of the poor people and the poor travelers. No, it doesn't work that way. To give effect to the above, effective 1st September 2022, all inbound and outbound passengers are required to pay the sum of 25 at the time of purchasing their air ticket by using either of the following payment facility: Orange Money, AfriMoney, and online payment platform www.securipass.sl. www.securipass.sl. Passengers who do not have access to the internet or mobile phone services can execute the transaction over the counter of the following banks: EcoBank, United Bank of America, and Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. What rubbish. Pure exploitation. Pure exploitation. I feel like there are mafia gangs in Sierra Leone. That's what I feel. I feel like there are mafia, looting, sucking blood, drying gangs in that country there. Sucking blood, they will find any means to squeeze you. They will find any means to suck you dry. Leeches sucking blood. Broad daylight witches. People are crying, and instead of alleviating, you are there. You say you not get tourists, then people they know they can at the country. You are begging for your diasporans to come to the country, to visit, to splurge, to inject, because when they come, they're spending them, they boost the economy, because then they inject money into the economy. And yet now you want to gouge them of $50. Let us say that plane is 300 passengers, then come down for the day. Or for the week, una get 500 passengers then, or 600 or 700 passengers. They are not know the traffic flow at the Sierra Leone International Airport. I think we should look into that numbers. Mr. Producer, sir, may I task you with this task? Please look into the numbers of traffic into Sierra Leone, air traffic into Sierra Leone, inbound and outbound flights. I think it is very important for us to have those numbers, because make with the times and times 50 bar. Because for per head now $50. So let us look at those numbers and times it times 50 and make we see who that they sit down and eat fat cow. Make we see who that then they sit down and eat fat cow while the masses are perishing. We need to look into that. Anyways, NTS okay make a vex small, so make a move go before. Like I say, I'm under the weather. It's not good for me to, be in a situation of vexing. Make you not in the situation of vexing. But anyways, let us go further. Today our topic is from Faceless Firebrands, right? So I hope say today we go able to close the Faceless Firebrands topic and move on to other topics. But today we topic now from Faceless Firebrands to international Mockery. So I don't take una through 3 series now laying the foundation, going through. Now they're going to all the international interviews. Then the first interview, and we go and step by step. So last week we end with that interview with I think he's the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, or the Minister of Youth and Sports. Please don't quote me. I do not pay attention to these titles. These grandiose titles where I think sometimes the people sitting in the position do not befit the position. You know, then big name and big title. I don't mix Panam. I don't mix Panam at all. You know, I'm chairing a meeting with with some allegios, the inside government. They ask, they say, Minister of Youth, they say, I'm Minister of Youth. And every time I will chair some meetings and go into some space, and they'll be like, Matilda, how would you like to be introduced? I always say, just say, her name is Matilda Cole, and she's here to do this. And they will always say, oh, is there more? What, like your biography? Let us say something about you, what you do, how long you've worked, how long you've done. I can always say, no, I'm not into these grandiose exposures. And that is me, honestly. I want you rather introduce me as Matilda Cole. You talk with you day for make I can't talk in commodity. Right? My delivery is what matters to me, not the title before my name. Because that title there before my name, you know what? It is just temporary. Yes, it is just temporary. Okay. Make we go. We go start with the first one, where the first interview where we hear after that disastrous fiasco was that of the mayor. And I believe, if I'm not, I think it was BBC Focus on Africa, the mayor, Yvonne Akisoya. Yvonne Akisoya will kickstart the series of interview with that of the mayor, Yvonne Akisoya. The mayor, Yvonne Akisoya, no, excuse me, that was with BBC. The mayor, Yvonne Akisoya, waiting him in get for say when the interview, when the BBC interview, and then we'll go through a series of the other interviews them and talk about you know, what emerged. Because you see, I know say for most people them it don't pass 1 week, it don't pass 2 weeks, make we move on to other thing. For most people them go want for make I can't talk about nudity gates today, but we are not talking about nudity gates today, because before nudity gates happen, something else had happened. And maybe some of all of these things, you know, have I don't know, maybe they have bearing, maybe they have legs, maybe they have tentacle that, you know, contributed to nudity gate. Who knows? Who knows? Nobody knows. But make we listen to Yvonne Akisoya, make her wait for me producer, make he load that interview there. The interview is about 5 minutes and 26 seconds. 5 minutes and 26 seconds. 5 minutes and 26 seconds. Yvonne Akisoya, the mayor Yvonne Akisoya, we are kickstarting with our interview. The mayor Yvonne Akisoya, we are kickstarting with our interview. 5 minutes and 26 seconds. Just waiting for my producer. The
mayor of Freetown, the capital of Sierra Leone, has said that suspects arrested in connection with last week's violent protests have been denied legal services, while the injured don't have access to medicine. Yvonne Akisoya, who's from an opposition party, said that in some instances lawyers who wish to represent detainees are threatened with being locked up or shot, adding that they don't even know where some of the detainees are kept. The BBC's Thomas Nardi spoke to her and started by asking her how she felt about being linked to the protest organisers, as alleged by some government officials.
Shock, dismay, disappointment, complete disbelief, for two reasons. The first and the obvious one is that I had absolutely nothing to do with the riots, not through instigation, not through organization, not in any way, shape, or form. So clearly, shock. But the second reason why I'm so shocked is because for the official spokespersons of the government, members of the Strategic Communication Unit of the Ministry of Information, but also, sadly, the President's press secretary, to be on national TV, to be on national radio, and to make accusations which are not only baseless, but incredibly dangerous. And they're dangerous because absolutely no evidence exists. The allegations in themselves are allegations which have the tendency to incite people, members of the public, members of the party of the government, against the people who are being named. And I felt and saw and experienced that on Wednesday. I was home when I had a call from my counselor. That's when I realized that there had been, there was this violence going on. Went onto social media and put out an appeal for calm and quiet, and end of violence and restraint by the security forces, and non-violence from Fretonians, from my residents. And I was absolutely shocked to see the attacks on social media blaming me.
All right. Do you think the security forces conducted themselves professionally during the protests?
So one of the things that has become clear to me is myself and many others have been trying to piece this all together, is a sense that it appears that on that day there were multiple things happening. It doesn't seem, from everything that I'm hearing, everything that I'm reading, things that I'm watching, videos and conversations, it feels like it was a very fragmented events, a series of events. What I found most disturbing, which have been corroborated by several people, that the violence started when a police officer killed 2 youth. And then that's what led to the spark. I condemn unequivocally, I condemn all violence. So the fact that somebody shot youth does not mean that that should lead to counter violence. I totally condemn that. And these are all things that we hope an independent investigation will unearth. The commentary from so many people that I've spoken to in the East End of Freetown who said this sparked. These were, from what I understand, these were young men who were going about their business, loafing around, not into a protest on the main road. Now, if that's the case, then I would say there's definitely some need for consideration about the way the security forces operated.
Did some members of the opposition take part in the protest? Could that be the reason why the security forces are using excessive force?
I have no idea. I wasn't in the protest. I can't say who was in the protest. What I've seen is social media posts. I can't tell you if members of the opposition were in the protests. What I can tell you is that members of the opposition have been arrested. What I can tell you is that members of the opposition, including myself, are being accused of masterminding, coordinating, inciting. And I will reiterate again, I really believed in the importance of us having a time of coming together for national peace. When I talk about peace, it's not a flippant remark. It's something I believe in.
That is the Mayor of Freetown, Yvonne Akisoya, talking to the BBC's Thomas Nardi.
This week, Scotland became the...
So one of the dangers of politics is when you get these accusations pointed at you. Undue accusation or unfounded accusation. So the one thing where me being surprised, I really been surprised about that is Keketoma, because Keketoma was the one who insinuated it, that Yvonne Akisoya was behind, the protest, that had been one of the opposition pioneers about the protest. And right there and then I said to myself, What proof do you have? Do you have time? If then King, if that day the way is Sidona, was it SLBS or SLBC, talk that kind thing day, and he didn't have solid proof to back his evidence. These are the type of rhetorics that can quickly lead to the disintegration of a society. Because like I always say, all kinu Sidona waf. Even the broko kinu they we Sidona waf. Then self forget their own owner. Like where you Sidon, where you young kinu Sidon at the waf, and you know say na you na the owner of young kinu. That other kinu day where you see Sidon don't broko what are the kind side they this they that, you don't know that na your owner. So we get to be very, very careful in as much as we are playing this political game. And we think it's a game of luring, a game of accusation, a game of pointing fingers, a game of scoring goals. Let us not forget about the fact that we are talking about lives of people. We are talking about people. We are talking about humans. We are talking about lives that cannot be replaced. Once gone, they are gone forever. Now 1 year now with the tetesopan. 1 year now we don't tetesopan. We them pull out and call and Lara. We them pull Lara. They say for false whatever. What does the law say about it? They make inquiry, make committee, then get one sitting. One sitting in this whole 1 year, one sitting. No reports, no this, no that, no that. We cannot continue to run a country like this. We cannot continue to run a country on revenge. We cannot continue to run the country on finger pointing. We cannot continue to run the country on backbiting. We cannot continue to allow rogue politician and seeking how they call it, selfish beings to work on our backs to educate their children, to work on our backs to make their own family name better, to work on our backs to elevate themselves. While we just the go no more, we just the go no more, we just the don't sit down pa we neck, they don't sit down pa we neck in town so like that all where the way because we God make we all where we mama them born we all been able for swing we neck them right and center. But they don't sit down pa we take now so we neck them there. There needs to be a relief and a releasing of the neck and shoulder. The neck and shoulders cannot do the same function. The neck they for guide, for turn the head to the different sides them, left, right, different angles them of the shoulder. That was an amateur, irresponsible comment. What if only young people they now grab come out na door and say, okay, show we who side, not to other Masibo, not to other Dombolo Dande. I mean, this guy has been reckless in his speech. Reckless from where this government takeover has been reckless with his talk. Now, the first person who come the national television and AYV talk was say the president know they appoint women there because women cannot live up to the task. Women do not have the rudimentary. And I remember, go back, go watch me video. I want to ask and say, where you see me, where you look me fine. Can you, even you as the spokesperson, can you measure up to me? You look me fine. And there are women in that country that I admire, that are my mentors. They not even reach 5 self. In fact, they not reach 3 self. To be honest, they say talk true. They not even reach 3 self. But those two, when we sit, when we talk, when we share, when I see them do, I admire and aspire for become them. loose talk, loose cannons. You can't have a loose cannon being a spokesperson. You cannot. You need somebody measured. You need somebody where restrain, where they restrain himself. But I'm not going to waste time. Make we go to the second interview. Where then at the big allege Joseph now left that interview day. The first one, where they can watch now with BBC Focus on Africa. And every time somebody says something, in my line of profession, I've been trained to listen to the words and the body language. Not only they listen to what you say, and they listen to the meaning behind what you they say, the way where you say them, which term you choose for say them, how you say them, and the body language in which you say them. All of that informs my formation. All of that informs my view and perception and my analysis of you. Make me listen to the president. BBC Focus on Africa. BBC Focus on Africa. BBC Focus on Africa. 6 minutes and 32 seconds. BBC Focus on Africa, 6 minutes and 32 seconds.
Sea World Service. Sierra Leoneans in parts of the capital, Freetown, and at least 2 other towns in the country experienced the most horrific violence yesterday. At least 5 police officers, many more perhaps, were killed and several civilians as well. Police stations were burnt down. Public buses were also torched. It didn't spring from nowhere, and we'll explore the source of the anger and the violence in a moment with President Julius Maada Bio. But I asked him first what the situation was like at the moment.
Well, first, I definitely want to express my condolences to the families of those who have died in this unfortunate incident. It is calm and quiet now. It's been like this since yesterday evening. The security forces are fully deployed to make sure that there is no further deterioration in the situation. There are arrangements in place now to make sure that we improve on that situation. It is calm and quiet as I speak.
What are they saying, the security experts and the ministers in charge of the situation, about the underlying and overt causes of the violence?
Well, it could be political. And I think that is the thought at the moment. They have been putting pressure to come out and protest. Of course, what happened yesterday was definitely not a protest. It was terrorism at the highest. We have a few Sierra Leoneans who live in the diaspora who have threatened to unleash terror on Sierra Leone on several occasions. They will incite unemployed youth on this part in the country. And on several occasions, we've had these episodic eruptions of violence. And the other time it was in Lonsa, another town, and another time it was in Makeni, Tombo, and we've lost lives in most of these instances.
You say unemployed youth, which actually is an indication, isn't it, that people actually do have genuine reasons for anger, for feeling that they're not being heard and that their lives are becoming more and more difficult. So pointing to agitators seems to be denying that reality of Sierra Leonean youth and Sierra Leonean people in general.
Definitely. There's hardship. We have unemployment. But most of the youths are unemployed. We do sympathize with their situation, and as a government, we have done quite a lot to address that situation. The free quality education, which involves technical education at all district levels, is all meant to empower them to be able to employ themselves or to make them employable. We are doing quite a lot to empower them in that direction. We've made education, access to education, free so that everybody is empowered. And it's also about inclusivity, making sure that every Sierra Leonean, any child born in Sierra Leone today can have access to education. So that is going on at the moment. These are very expensive undertakings at a point when we know that the global economy is going through difficulties. But we have made that effort just to make sure that we equip our young people, place them in a position where they'll be able to gain employment.
But that is a very long-term strategic vision. The education of young people is a long-term strategic vision to turn things around. But right now, there's a massive cost of living crisis. And I grant you, of course, that's global in scope. But the joblessness, the youth unemployment, the overhang of COVID, all those are issues that confront people right now. They are hungry right now. What is your solution to that? They want government to solve those problems.
But definitely, these are genuine concerns, and that is the responsibility of government. What we have done is, since the onset of COVID itself, was to make sure that we try to cushion the effect of these trends on the people of Sierra Leone. We have waived virtually every tax on the essential commodities, making sure that they have been available all throughout, even with the price of fuel. We have adjusted only when it is necessary, and we have gone up when the prices on the world market have gone up, and we have immediately reduced those prices in the past 2 weeks twice, just to make sure that we reduce the impact on people. So we have done quite a lot to make sure that we cushion the effect of what is happening around the world. We are not using that as an excuse. Even with COVID, what we did was we custom-made our own interventions to the extent that we are completely different from what was happening around the world. We never declared 2 or 3 weeks disruptions at all. What we did was we had 2 periods during which we had to intervene, and we made sure that there were only 2-day interventions during that COVID time, just to make sure that we don't keep people indoor. During that time, we provided food for a lot of people, the disabled, and we provided also cash transfers to cushion the effect. So quite a lot of activities have been taking place from the side of government to just cushion the effect. And there's just so much government can do, taking into consideration the poor performance of revenue under the circumstances too.
You've outlined several measures there that your government has taken. It seems, though, that there is still grounds for people to feel that government can do more. Can you do more?
Under the circumstances, extremely difficult because revenue itself is not performing. As you know, we have supply chain disruptions, which have had an impact on the cost of virtually everything. And because of all of this, and because we have taken away, giving off all these waivers, the margins, fiscal margin is very, 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 very tight. And remember our commitment to this huge and ambitious but necessary project to provide education for every child in this country. That is a huge undertaking that is taking a large amount of money every month to make sure that we are providing school fees, we are providing textbooks, we are providing teaching and learning materials, we have provided transportation in most of the cities, we are providing feeding for other areas. And what we also have done is to do quite a lot in the area of agriculture, because we are looking at sustainable solutions, not just quick fix solutions. We are looking at sustainable solutions to our problems today. So there is a shift in policy as far as agriculture is concerned, so that we'll be able to produce our own, most of the essential food products that we need within the country.
So why do you think, though, that people still come out in protest and in the numbers that they did yesterday with the kind of force that they did? Are you communicating your intentions, your programs, your strategic vision to the country so that they don't fall prey to what you were calling earlier agitators?
We definitely try to do that all the time. But of course, there is politics underneath all of what is happening.
Okay, so the president here was saying that they try to do to communicate to the people, but there is politics. I don't know how many times you can go back to all of my shows and other shows where people constantly they say, talk to your people. Talk to your people. You are silent. You are silent. You are traveling more than you are talking to your people. Talk to your people. Talk to your people. Talk to your people. Listen, I'm not going to say the president's statement here is unfounded, but all I'm going to say here is that I still have nieces and nephews in Sierra Leone. I still have relatives in Sierra Leone. And I still have relatives who go to school in Sierra Leone. And I can still say that my money still goes to Sierra Leone for education. And many a times I have asked them, so what about this free quality education? It is free quality education. What is going on? How is it that you require this much money for the starting of school of your child or your children? And time again, if one farm will tell you something, you go say something and lie, they lie. But when 2-3 farm will they tell you the same thing, and people are when you know even farm will too. When I help no more, they help them. They tell you the same thing. Then there is an angle of truth to it. That is where I will leave that. When it comes to shutting down the country and providing for even the disabled, people who are disabled, again, I will not say the president's statement is unfounded, but here is what I will say. I will say that what I know for sure and I can prove with evidential facts is the fact that during that time, a lot of war victims, a lot of disabled people were left destitute. And there is an organization that I belong to, which is called Melkosh International. If you follow me on my page and on my platform, and even on this platform, several times you would hear me advocating and requesting and asking people to help support this organization. What I can prove undoubtedly be, what I can prove beyond reasonable doubt is the fact that that organization stepped in during that very difficult time, during that troubling time, during the height of COVID, to provide bags of rice and other supplies to the disabled in every province of Sierra Leone, including Freetown. What I can say with proof is the fact that the only subvention they received from the government, and that is because at some point we threatened to go internationally with this inhumane treatment, is the fact that they all, some of them, because to say they all would mean that I am also saying something that is unfounded. Some of them, a very few number of them, received 250,000 leones. 250,000 leones from a particular organization. However, what I know without reasonable doubt is the amount of money that was sent to Sierra Leone to help these categories of people. And what I can also prove without reasonable doubt is the fact that this aid did not see the daylight. The people who were supposed to receive this aid never saw its daylight. That I can prove. So again, I'm not saying the president's statement is unfounded. I'm just saying what I know from my end and what I can prove. Make we go to BBC Focus on Africa. And the phone lines are open. Phone lines are open. Make we go to BBC Focus on Africa.
To Sierra Leone now, where President Julius Maada Bio says anyone found culpable in the deaths of protesters or police officers during last week's violent protest will face justice. The demonstrations over the rising cost of living resulted in 25 deaths. President Bio accuses the opposition of trying to topple his government, an accusation the opposition have rejected. The BBC's Thomas Nadi asked President Bio about the accusations of human rights abuses against his government.
None of that has reached me. We have, as a matter of fact, been very, very conscious of our obligations, international obligations. Human rights is one, and we have provided protection for everybody in this country. The rights of people should be respected.
Hassan Domboya, known as Evangelist Samson, was killed, and some people have suggested that it looks like you are going after your perceived enemies.
I have a duty to provide security for this country, and I pay attention to that. I have a duty to deliver development to this country. I pay attention to that. So little braggarts who make noise on the social media are never attract my attention. I only came to know about Evangelist Samson now. So I cannot say he's an opponent, as a matter of fact.
What about the killings? Police have been conducting raids, and there are reports of killings.
All the others have been arrested. They are being investigated. None of them were killed. In his case, there was an exchange of gunfire, and it was in that process that he sustained injuries that led to him bleeding to death.
We are also reliably informed that he wasn't even closer to the scene of the incident.
I wasn't there. I'm getting reports, and you are also reporting. I was not an eyewitness, nor can I give you a first-hand information. That's why I do not even want to delve into that, because the matter is being investigated, and I wouldn't want to make any categorical statements at this point.
Our sources have told us that you were given 48 hours to return to this country, or else the military was going to take over. And after your speech, some senior officers were replaced and others retired. Was that the reason why you took that action?
Nobody gave me an ultimatum. Heads of security institutions can be removed for different reasons, and I did that at this point in time.
What are the reasons?
Well, it is my right when I think it is right.
You think the timing was right?
That is my determination, not yours.
We've spoken to people, and they've said that it's because of economic hardship that prompted them, or that propelled them to go out on the streets to demonstrate. And what are you doing to address economic hardships in this country?
With the prices of things just going up, I cannot protect the people of this country. The only way what I can do is to make sure that we cushion the effect of what is happening elsewhere, so that it does not negatively impact.
And what have you done to cushion the effects?
What have I done? We have removed, or we have waived completely, like on rice, which is a staple food, completely every tax or duty on that one, rice in particular. So we don't earn anything as a state from that one. Cooking gas, from 5% to 0 completely, we have taken that off. We have provided over $50 million, which is an equivalent of about 500 billion yuans, in terms of facilities to support, through the central bank, to support importers, so that they can provide all essential commodities. Except for a very short time when we had a shortage of fuel, all essential commodities have been available since the pandemic.
Fuel prices are going up and people are complaining.
If you can produce fear and give it to me cheaply, I will give it to my people very cheaply. But I don't produce fear. I cannot get it freely for the people of Sierra Leone. So what we have done is to make sure that it is available.
But the problem is that it's not actually trickling down to ordinary Sierra Leoneans. Transport fares remain the same.
We cannot have lower prices at this time of the... It's not anywhere. In the UK, go to the shelves. What you used to buy at 40 is now 100 or more. I was there. Energy prices just rose up by 45 good percent.
One thing that I'm sure this question has been asked severally, your people are complaining that you travel too much. They want to know how that has benefited them.
Those are what you call state visits, a particular category of visits that you need to do as a new head of state. Nobody's going to get up and come to you as a new boy, as a new boy on the block, and come and no, you have to go out. I had to go to Harvard when I was invited. That is an honor. I had to go to MIT. That is an honor. You won't get that if you are a corrupt government, if you are not investing in your people, which the others didn't get, and that's why they are jealous about my travels. That is the only reason.
So you think they are jealous about your travels?
Correct.
That's the Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio there speaking to the BBC's Thomas.
BBC Thomas Nadi. The BBC Thomas Nadi. Ah, what an amazing interview that was. So, few takeaways from that interview. Mr. President, again, I would say to you, you cannot be name calling your people. You cannot be name calling your people. After you have called them names today, because you say people like us are little braggarts. Me, I not say other person, but my own. I do not consider myself or will ever put myself in the category of little braggarts. For them, when they went on understand what in little braggarts mean, he say labo. Then people they can just sit down no more. They labo, small labo picking there, labo bobo them or labo titi them. That is what little braggarts mean. I am definitely, Mr. President, with all due respect, sir, with every due respect left in me for you. What I do here and what I am, I cannot be subjected to a word that is of no use. You know what I mean? To an unusable word. To a word that is of no tangible complexity or character. So, I don't know about you now, you go defend yourself, but me, Matilda of Salone, should sure say, I am not a little braggart. Right? I am not a little braggart. But then he lump everybody, say little braggarts. Very interesting choice of word there. And then he go on for say first he don't know about jail and prosecution and arrest and this and that. But in the very interview, he say he come for know about the fact that there was exchange of fire inside Salone. That government when me sabi, when they are right about something, then they release video. They will release it quick for show evidence. If indeed there was an exchange of fire that took place in Mockery where the said evangelist Samson was killed, why haven't the video of such exchange of fire released where he was armed and was firing at law enforcement? If you no pull that video there, election go sweet for now, because me, Matilda, we sit on so I will have a word or two to say. Yes, and me talk am. And then could you imagine a statesman, a president that is saying that, in they make a state visit, that, when a new boy comes on the block, when you're the new guy on the block, you have to go and visit. Yes, we understand that, but within reason, sir. Within reason, sir. You don't pass new block on the boy category. Yes, MIT, yes, Harvard, yes, certain institution, yes, certain meetings, international meeting. Yes, check. In my field of work, I know what that means. I know the importance and significance of those bilateral, forming and maintaining of the bilateral and multilateral relationships. I know how important it is. But you only don't pass bilateral and multilateral or regional relationship building. You don't pass networking and consensus building, sir. And for you to go on and say that the people are jealous, they speak of your excessive traveling because they are jealous. Who are those that are jealous? Abompe, we not get nothing as Sonkara for it. He is jealous of your traveling. Auntie Modo and cousin Joko, where they manage that 3 days fry soup, they are jealous of your traveling. The money that you are taking from them in traveling, in airfares, because when you go out to you won't get no more, you go with kabudu them. The money that is being, sipped, the money that is being drunk, the money that is being drained from the national coffers to accommodate those travel expenses. If we left that money there inside us and build and create so that we people can go afford, don't you think it will be better, sir? Instead of turning your fingers, insulting the hand and mouth, the hands that feeds you. Because they are the ones that we the people are the one feeding you. We the people are the reason why you are able to indulge in these excesses. So we the people. Instead, you denigrate the mouth, the hands that feeds you, and you call them jealous. What are they jealous about? For demanding for better? For asking that you leave some of the resources in-house so themselves then can eat one pot jollof rice if not 2 10 for a year with 1 fall or 2 fall inside? That is what they are jealous. By the way, the phone lines are open, and when the hour comes, I close. Let me just make this clear. Is that what people are jealous about? You say you have cut down so many taxation, so many taxes and stuff. Who is feeling it? How did them buffering mechanisms then they? How it translates to the people? How it translates? Show we. Because for them, all them cut, then they need to try, they need for to cool down. You know, go just go no more to the person. When I in there, now one person no more they eat, now one side no more they eat, the others they serve for it. That's when they realize that yes, you are doing something, when it trickles down. Make I take this call. Call her waiting at your name and also you call from. Hello, caller.
Hey, Madam Matilda, long time. How is everything going?
We thank God.
Okay, just a quick one. Let me do some analysis, and out and call and submission to the interview based on the interview. I don't want to take the whole picture of it, but let me just pick some few things out. Like Mother Bill,
okay, go ahead. You've got 3 minutes.
Mother Bill seriously say go out for medical checkup when in doctor then write to and tell and say that they strike for certain days if he not come and settle them off with waiting them they get before. But this same man left the medical side in a Salone. We is supposed for fix. He left and battered. He go for medical outside. Now that's a claim. That's a disgrace. Because one, the flight fee way he use, if you don't take and buy then diagnostic machine them for people them out there, it's for much more better for them because we get professional doctors then at the country. We're able for check them up and put on a machine for check everything wrong with them. That's not one. Secondly, you see the type of way when the guy they interview him, it take us one stage to the other will lead to the other. When he return, tell and say the military say within 48 hours, if you know return, this go happen. When you return, immediately you sack. As you sack, in order to say, then go kill this other person and other judiciary killing them, they go on. Listen the word way the guy they interview him. The guy don't plan all things done stage by stage. Matter you just send inside the web, they talk big full feel say it's a big talk. But all within it they talk so. Trust me, they get for pay for every wrong way they do. Then what a big shame for you president for calling you citizen and say they are terrorists, they are this, they are that, all the names they give to the people. And let me say something, Mother Bio. If the people are terrorists, then you are the father of the terrorists. So you self again become part of the terrorists because now you the head of the terrorist group. So stop for calling you people a name because any label where you label you people out there, now the same way that they look you when you self go out. Don't forget that. Then the last part of it, when they tell her about Samson when die, you see the way they downplay the thing, they still say it's clever with words. But when you look all things, if you not me for me the interrogate, la no say interview, if you me the interrogate am Obaya so na California. Trust me, I've already lose my mind and get slap because there are certain tweets and they when I for press them for make it come out with. That's a better when I interview. Now let we go to the last part. When in all the faith in God, the people are where they pay them. The people and taxpayers' money, where they use for fly like a bird up the sky. If they talk the word say, the people are the jealous. What's a big shame for a president for making them jealous out of the people and taxpayers' money. Then people I don't know who side them come out with this their education. Why they not go see them and team up with the people and the country and rule the people then with a better way when they bring all other facilities. These are the people when they come out here, they will enjoy every other facility, but when they go to the country, they're not able to give half of even the young people them out there. But then get all sorts of big talk where they make. I'm going to fire so because of time. I go come back here, Madam Arcelia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kola. Mr. Sakor, Mr. Lasana Sakor, I don't know waiting lead me for go na the comment section and watch you comment. Mr. Lasana Sakor, I say what I said, not because like I have stated that I am a braggart. No, I'm not a braggart, and I can never belong to a class or a group or a subgroup of people being referred to as a braggart. But however, by virtue of the fact that I am seated here and what I do is amplified and watched by others and listened and consumed by others, therefore I somehow fall within the categories of distributors of information. And so by that very definition, even though I do not I do not identify myself within that subcategory, by virtue of what I do here, there are consequences and there are parallels that can be drawn. To your second question, sir, by virtue of my age that I know, I would then flip this question to you and say, and where is Ethiopia today, and where has Ethiopia been in the last 30 years? If you can answer that question with all conviction, in parallel to that of what we are seeing in Sierra Leone and what has visited Sierra Leone, with all good conscience, then we can start to have a formidable discussion. I rest my case. Now make we go to the Al Jazeera interview. Thank you very much.
Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown. With inflation rising steeply for more than a year, so too is the price of food, gas, electricity and other commodities. 60% of the population live in poverty, and the increasing cost of living is worsening the financial struggles people already suffer. Earlier this month, a crisis erupted in the West African nation. Hundreds of people took to the streets in frustration at the economic hardship. Demonstrations turned violent and led to deaths. Dozens were killed while protesting against the government. Sierra Leone is recovering from a 10-year civil war that destroyed many of its institutions before it ended in 2002. President Julius Maada Bio came to power in 2018, promising to make his country financially independent by fighting corruption. With only 10 months left in his term, protesters are calling for him to resign. But the president says this is politically motivated.
The full force of the law will be brought to bear on all those persons who attacked and killed police officers. They, their sponsors, and their collaborators will not go unpunished. There will also be a full investigation into the death of ordinary citizens who lost their lives in this senseless violence incited by those unknown persons.
With the cost of living in Sierra Leone that's risen by more than 40% within the last few months, could the government have avoided the conflict? And is there a way to peacefully end the crisis before a general election next year? The president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, talks to Al Jazeera. President Julius Maada Bio, thank you very much for your time and for joining us here on Talk to Al Jazeera. Can we begin with recent events? How surprised are you at the violence that has been witnessed in the capital and the surrounding areas of your country?
While with the commitment we have made as a nation and taking into consideration a very difficult history of violence, we had vowed as a nation after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that we will always settle our differences peacefully and not by means of violence.
In terms of the current situation, why do you think people have come out onto the streets? What seems to be, or what are the issues that are worrying them and making them so angry?
Ours was not a cost of living protest. It was a politically motivated protest or demonstration that has been politically motivated. And as you can see from their chants, they would never even spoke about any cost of the cost of essential commodities because we have made that available at the cost, and we are making every attempt to ease the burden on society.
Your detractors would perhaps not agree with what you've just said there. We've spoken in our news reports to people, members of the public on the ground about their concerns about the economy, the rising cost of living. But if I also just add here that 60% of your community are living in poverty, their cost of living is rising or has risen by 40% in the last few months. How can you justify that this crisis is politically motivated and that their anger is politically motivated when your country, like many others across the continent and the globe, are experiencing this very unique set of economic factors that are making the public angry at large?
Of course, there is hardship in Sierra Leone, but we have done quite a lot to address that hardship. Is it only in Sierra Leone? No. Have we done something about it? Yes. And we continue because it is my duty as head of state of the Republic of Sierra Leone to cater for the needs of my people. But what is happening around the world has a limit to which we can address. The world economic crisis is beyond what we can do. And irrespective of the fact that we have waived off most of the duty on essential commodities, we have made sure that these commodities are available, and we are very sensitive to the prices of commodities. We have reduced the price of fuel twice in just a month alone, just making sure that it does not affect the people adversely. Yes, there is economic hardship. Yes, Sierra Leoneans are definitely suffering. Yes, we have done quite a lot and will continue to do quite a lot. Why I said it was politically motivated, it was because there were a lot of arrangements and none of them were actually talking about the cost of living. As you had the chance, it was about the head of state leaving, and little boys were gathered and pushed to the street and told to cater, to push, to call for the overthrow. Even those who are organizing, we are not even talking about the cost of living, we are talking about the overthrow of a legally constituted government. So that is why I said things are hard, but the particular violent demonstration that we all witnessed, which shocked us to the core, was definitely not a cost of living protest.
You talked about the commodities that you're making available and the price of commodities you're making available to the public at large. Because of the crisis that your country is embroiled in at the moment, the African Development Fund, for example, has suggested that they will offer a $2 million grant, really to help the funds to farmers in terms of being able to plant seed and obtain fertiliser at subsidised rates for the next 2 planting seasons. How important is it to get that money to the country, and how important is it to get those products to the farmers so that they can plant for the next season?
Well, we are already far gone into the season, and that is far too small an amount to actually cater for the needs of the farmers. We as a government have had a change of policy. We have brought in the private sector, and we have also provided support in terms of inputs, machines and other agricultural inputs in order to boost up the production of food since last year.
It is obviously a difficult time because the World Food Programme, for example, is saying that 13% of food insecurity is higher in families that are headed by females, by women. Are those statistics worrying when also there is an imbalance sometimes between those families headed by men and those by women, and food insecurity and availability to women who are trying to get it, who most probably don't have great jobs and are actually, trying to not only feed a...
Okay, viewers, I've been just want to make we go inside this Al Jazeera interview small. Now, been a very extensive interview. As a matter of fact, I think this interview is about 25 minutes long. And for me, for play the entire 25 minutes long will mean that it's eating up the rest of the show. But here is what I will promise. I will promise that if we now go back na the VOS platform after the show, say maybe give it tonight by tomorrow morning, I will ensure say the producers them do a standalone and put them as a standalone na the VOS platform. So this particular interview with Al Jazeera will be featured on VOS as a standalone, because now a very interesting interview for listening, for watch the president in response, some of the key things then where he say, the $2 million grants from the African Development Bank for boost the farmers. They say the farming season, they done they well into the farming season, and that money they now is far too small to the farmers, for the farmers then. Is it that the money is far too small for the farmers, or is it that the money cannot be distributed amongst all of the ministers then and parastatals then we don't jump inside farming, we don't jump inside agriculture? Is it that the money is too small by the time it is divided among that pot then now for make it can out to the normal average people the way the money for go inside too. That is the question I ask. Listen, I say it and I say this again. There is a lot that people know, and there is a lot that they know that they will not say, because that saying them will be bridging their ethical codes, their professional ethical codes. And because they do not want to bridge their professional ethical codes, they stay away from certain subjects, they stay away from certain topics. But it is evident that in Sierra Leone, in fact, the poverty level is more than 60%, okay? The average where you say can normal, say median, say na 60%, but it is more than 60%. It is here we saw when the World Food Program came out with a documentary, I was it earlier last year or the year before, for says 4.7 Sierra Leoneans them are food self-insufficient. Food self-insufficient, we mean for say they're not able to get their substantive living, they're not able to get afford even the square meal a day is becoming a problem. The square meal a day is becoming a problem, let alone the 3 square meals a day. So the sooner we start having authentic, non-filtered conversations about these issues, then we'll be able to profile maybe long-lasting solutions that are not covered, or that do not have the covering or the umbrella, of political shades. Yeah, that do not have the umbrella of political shade. But like I said, that was a very important interview for me, Sierra Leone, and then go sit down and watch. But after that interview, the CNN themselves go do their own personal investigation as to wetin actually occur na Salone. Make we hear you wetin CNN get for say, and make we move on. The CNN interview, please. CNN. The thing about the CNN interview is that, listen, CNN, when you come to them people there, you are not talking about play. You know they talk about play, but I go reach, they make me listen to the interview, the CNN interview, the first one when is summary way then go, I know they talk about the one with the minister, because after that, when that interview aired, the minister contacted CNN and said he would like to rebut some of the thing them where they talk. So I want to play the first one where trigger the minister in rebuttal, the minister of information, that is. Make we take a there, make we listen to the CNN's summary of waiting, then capture what happened at Salone. So just give us a second, just waiting for the technical team to pull that interview up. Yeah, to pull that interview up.
On August 10th in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, people took to the streets to protest a worsening cost of living crisis. Rising food shortages have left over half the population without enough food to eat, according to the World Food Programme. Protesters hurled rocks, set buses alight. Authorities were quick to condemn the destruction, which they said left 8 officers dead, with the president of Sierra Leone labelling the protesters as terrorists. There was no mention of the number of civilians killed, which Reuters reported as high as 21. But it was the severe police crackdown both on the streets and online that has revealed worrying signs of a government suppressing freedom of speech. The voice you're hearing is of 20-year-old Jibrila Kojo. Sitting on his balcony, he calls for those running past to be careful and not damage the cars parked below. Just over an hour later, Jibrila would be dead. His friend David, whose name we have changed to protect his identity, witnessed the shooting and says Jibrilla was shot in the neck by Sierra Leone's police.
He was totally harmless. He was not even part of the protest. He was at the balcony watching the protest.
David's videos of the events are rare and risky. He told CNN he believes it was the sight of him and his friend filming that made them a target for police.
Even before Jibrilla died, we had him. I told him that they were firing life rounds. We need to back up, we need to get inside. But he insisted. He said they were firing rubber bullets, but it was life rounds.
CNN analysed a bullet casing found at the scene, which was confirmed by weapons experts to be from live ammunition. The police have made no comment on whether they did use live bullets during the protests. David's filming 2 hours before Jibrilla's death reveals armed police standing on the streets below. You can see the red hats, indicating it's the Operational Support Division, an armed unit of the police, which according to Amnesty International has a track record for shooting at unarmed protesters dating back to 2007. As other scenes of injured and bloodied protesters across Freetown began to be shared on social media, the internet was cut off. By midday, just half an hour after Jibrilla's death, NetBlocks recorded a total shutdown of the internet, activity NetBlocks identified as an intentional disruption. The next day, a statement was issued by the government's Department for Cybersecurity warning that anyone spreading incendiary information online could be punished with up to 20 years in prison. And the basis for this threat was a new cybersecurity law introduced in 2021 and backed by the EU, UK and the Council of Europe.
To sign into law today the Cybersecurity and Crime Act.
The law had aimed to safeguard intellectual property and privacy online and was part of a broader initiative by the EU and UK to fund projects across Africa that tackled cybercrime. In statements to CNN, the EU and UK delegations to Sierra Leone said they were engaging with the government on freedom of speech and protest. The delegation encouraged all measures which lead to dialogue and refrained from repressive measures, the EU said. And the Council of Europe said the spreading of incendiary information is not listed in the offences under the Act. Do you think it's what the UK and EU intended for this law to be used by?
Definitely not. I mean, neither the EU, which is founded upon the basic principles of human rights, and nor any democratic state in the world, including the United Kingdom, would even consider an attempt to limit the freedom of speech in such a manner.
Reporters Without Borders told CNN any repressive provision of freedom of expression online must be repealed, and said they called on authorities in Sierra Leone to highlight the fact the act should not interfere with the rights to freedom of expression. And for many in Sierra Leone who spoke to CNN, they said this law made them fearful to use social media to document what they witnessed during the August 10th protests.
They want you guys to see it, like the foreign medias. They want the foreign medias to be seeing these videos.
Do you feel scared right now?
Of course, yes. Of course, 100%. Yes. I'm actually expecting to think about it, but I pray it don't happen.
Katie Poglaze, CNN, London.
Okay, so at the end of that interview, CNN make and clear say they try for contact government officials, them forget the inside of the story, but they're not able to reach them. Three key things then where I want highlights in that interview. They not to the Cuscas, waiting lead to the Cuscas, how the Cuscas came about and all of that. All done there, we don't talk about them, now the other show them. Three key things then, because sometimes I can tell you now for say I get insights to some information them, but because of professional code of ethics, I cannot say it out loud. I will say it. But here is an opportunity for me now to talk about this, because it's been first reported by a third party, and then they use this third party information, and now they report on this thing. I know they report them as a privileged conversation or privilege or access to privileged information anymore. When the cybercrime be introduced and whatnot. I tell people and say the need for comb that crime day, that law day with fine tooth. And I also, if when I go back and at this show, I also talk for say when the information minister come and say then they introduce the cyber crime, the government, they this, they that. I talk say, is it Sierra Leone willingly introducing this crime, this cyber crime law, or is it, or are they under the encouragement and the collaboration of a third party? People in Matilda, you don't know what you are talking about. The president is doing this, this government is doing this government is doing that. I hope that in this interview that you did not miss the section that says the EU and the UK are working with countries, you know, not to Salone no more, include other countries then, but are working with countries to lower repressive regimes and get rid of repressive laws and introduce democratic laws. And waiting the one and the people when they interview, what he say is like their aim in encouraging the government to introduce these laws, this more friendly and democratic law, is not to further repress the people. It's like in any part of that law day, if they write or make provisions to the fact that say the cybercrime law will now be used to mute people of their freedom of expression, it should be removed because it has no part to play in the cybercrime law. The law is made for a specific reason and specific purpose. You know, now they can't subvert the law and repurpose them for the use of something else. Now that make you see where they highlight them. When Whitman they deal with something and he highlights something, it means for say it amplify them. It make a specific, it use key whatever and show say if forever or you feel say you not been see them or you mistake not see them or a mistake you mistake put them inside and now they highlight them for you. This particular section, yeah, so it says the law should not interfere with the freedom of expression. Waiting the Ministry of Information being quick for do after the 10. They not talk say then the cybercrime law go hold anybody where distribute or where say or where that is not what the law was actually meant to do. So if in some way una filter in something where the law not meant for do, una go back and go amend that law there and pull that thing they come more inside. How long have I been holding on to this information? I've been holding on to this information for over a year. But I cannot say it out loud. Because nobody not been the talk but nobody not been the pull down there. Nobody not been the give a justification. Nobody not been the say. That is why I was so happy that in this CNN interview, they make sure say they make reference to the EU, they make reference to the European Union, and they make reference to the fact that say not to Salone no more, then they work with other governments and countries them for remove repressive laws and introduce more democratic friendly laws them. And that democratic friendly laws they not include the repression of freedom of speech within the law. And then they have one bring cantona from this one. Make we go to una see say at the end of that summary there from CNN, una see say then try for contact the Minister of Information or somebody in the government for talk to, but they were met with dead silence. They not contact nobody. So Kakatua, the Minister of Information, which is his job by the way, made contact with CNN, and he said that one can give the own side of the story. So make we hear the disaster that followed.
Years in prison. That reference, the Cybersecurity and Crime Act of 2021, this additional mention of spreading of incendiary information is not in the Act signed in November 2021. You know that, and I know that. What's the reason for the late addition, sir?
Okay, first, the emails you reference were not sent to personal addresses. If I had any notification that you wanted to get government side of the story, I would have readily obliged you. I have never dodged an interview, whether locally or internationally. So that was an unfortunate event. But here we are.
Okay, well,
our own side of the story.
I'm sitting on those emails, and they've gone to they have gone to statehouse.gov.sl, and they have gone to MOF. They've gone to all of the places that we would normally send requests for information. Let me put this to you: has anyone been arrested under this act since the August the 11th statement was made?
Like I mentioned, those were not personal email addresses; they were generic, and it could have fallen between the cracks. If we saw it, we would have readily responded and in a very timely fashion. Like I said, this cybersecurity and crime bill was benchmarked against some of most seminal legislations. You're talking about the Budapest Convention. You're talking about the AU Malabo Convention and the ECOWAS directives. We also took into consideration local realities, current and local challenges. In the extant legislation, there are also references made to the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2012. So there is nothing extraneous that was dragged into this law.
Are you sorry, I'm just slightly confused as to what you're saying here. Are you disputing the additional mention of spreading of incendiary information is not in the Act signed in November 2021? Well, I'm trying to get to the bottom of why it was added in this statement.
Laws are read in conjunction with other legislations. I just mentioned the anti-money laundering. So you read laws in conjunction with other existing legislations. What you are doing is the mistake of reading it in isolation, and that's where the trouble starts.
Was live ammunition used during these protests and these arrests on the part of the government, on the part of authorities?
We saw the bloody insurrectionists wielding self-loading machine guns, pistols. I'm sure those were not toys. They had live ammunition, and they were meant to shoot anybody who stood in their way.
This is the police that you're talking about here.
Okay, I was talking about the bloody insurrectionists. Well, when policemen go to queer riots,
I was talking about the authorities.
Arms, because they also people campaigns to survive, to be able to protect lives and property. So I know they also go to the scene of crime, particularly bloody insurrection like this with loaded weapons. As to whether they use live ammunition or not, neither deny nor confirm.
Sorry, I missed what you said. It's quite a difficult line, and I want to ensure that our viewers get a clear answer from you there. So you're saying that live ammunition was used, or that you do not know whether live ammunition was used by authorities?
Neither. But in security personnel, when they go to quell a bloody insurrection, I will suspect they will carry live ammunition, but I can't confirm or deny.
I want to get to the bottom of this act. Has anyone been arrested under this act since this August 11th statement was made?
So the best of my knowledge, nobody has been convicted under the Cybersecurity and Crime Act, even though we see a lot of infractions every day, willy-nilly. But this government is committed to deepening the democratic space, to protecting the fundamental rights and liberties of Sierra Leoneans, which is why, under his watch, law pushing 9 places to become the 46th most liberal in terms of free speech. We have, under the same dispensation, been able.
So I'm so sorry. It's so important that we get your full answer, but the technology is letting us down on this. Unfortunately, your connection is going in and out. Let me try one other question to you and see if I can get a full answer from you. Several of those who participated or witnessed the protest told CNN they feared persecution for uploading any videos of the protests to social media, particularly those showing incidents of police violence due to the announcement of this act. What was the ministry's intention behind putting out this statement? What information would be classified as incendiary?
Becky, in 2017, the total number of Sierra Leoneans on social media is about 400,000. Today, we have 3 million as this year. This is as a result of the enabling legislation and our respect for fundamental freedoms and rights. A lot more people trust relating on social media now than they ever did at any point in time. That's the point.
That wasn't the question, though.
So
I was asking what information would be classified as incendiary.
Well, if, for example, you call on fellow citizens to take over State House, to burn prisons, to burn people alive in their cars, and we have in recent times have several such incendiary remarks. Yes, those are the kind that are categorized as incendiary threats, yes.
But you're saying that nobody has been arrested under this act since August the 11th, when the statement was made?
No. So since this incident, nobody has been arrested for that, to the best of my knowledge. I know there was a previous arrest, but that person was acquitted and discharged for warrants of evidence. So that is to tell you, we respect the rule of law, we respect due process, and we respect the fundamental rights and liberties of everyone.
Right. Let's just continue this, because I want to drill down, and I thank you for your time here, and I hope that your connection will hold up, because it is important that we get your full answers out and give you the opportunity to respond. CNN has received testimony and video evidence from several protesters and bystanders that show unarmed civilians being hit by authorities. Can you verify that indeed was going on?
I haven't seen evidence of that. What I can attest to is the fact that I have seen police officers slain by protesters and with stones. They never had the opportunity of going back. Bye to them. We had to accord them due civic burial ceremonies on Tuesday this week.
And finally, several protesters also told CNN that the government had tracked down those who did post content only and detained them. So what's your response to that allegation?
Well, I'm not aware of any such case. In any case, if a person has been arrested, battle, including 28 children who were bused from Kamakwe, Bengal. Those children who were in hands have now been handed over to the appropriate child rights agencies led by the Ministry of Social Welfare. I am told they are currently receiving psychosocial care and they are in safe homes.
What a disaster! What a disaster! This now the connection of the Minister of Information and Technology on an international platform. Minister of Information, I think say been feel to say na they interview them waking they go do na AYV. Waking sometimes they go in the 15-20 minutes late. They say other engagement, or sometimes at their interview then we can do with the Salone, with what is it, media review show na VOS, where 30 minutes they show up on time. If you say na then sometimes at then kind interview they go with. If you to say na then wise them, then Phoebe and Snail then kind interview na been they go sit down pan. It not be the veracity of the caliber or the veracity of the person who been they go sit down with. Becky is known for her style of interview. When they talk about Becky, they talk about the Christiana Amanpour and others. They are in a defi. They talk about the Barbara Walters. You they talk about the Oprah Winfreys of the day. They have a particular class and style of interview. That when you come, no matter who than are you, they will get what they want from you. These people, they interview, you know, the top notch, the brass of the brass. Then they interview world leaders, dictators, ruthless killers, murderers. Just as well as they go interview the Pope, you know, interesting people of the world, pioneers, inspirators. You name the category and the class of people and they don't sit down front them, they don't interview. And you little I don't want to use the word, bro. I don't want to use the word. I don't want to use the word. Now you feel say that thing when you can go do na then radio station and that thing when I can go do na 98.1 or then thing the one I can go do na AYV. That is what you're going to be met with in this interview. You they tell Becky say law have to be read in conjunction with you. The woman they tell you say when you sign the act, when the act was signed, when it was legislated, there are things that you people are enforcing, are forcing down the throat of people that are not part of the act, which is true. Make we go look the act where they signed that day. Make we go look what him in the inside day. And make we look at what they insinuate and levy on the people right now. Make we compare the two and see if there are distinctions of they are similarity. If A and N are the same, and if Z and Z are the same. That is what Becky was asking you. That is what Becky was asking you. They are talking now about live rounds and live ammunitions and attacks and you know sequestering of people, involuntary or involuntary sequestering of people. You see, don't they talk about 400 users and 3 million users? Who asked you about the percentage of users? And what is even more shameful and more disgraceful is the fact that you sit on international television and say that the messages were not sent to your personal email. Hello? It decided whether to send the messages. Are those not official government emails? You think if someone wants to contact me, na me personal email, me Matilda blah 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 blah, or me blah 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 blah, mind them for contact me on an official government of Canada capacity? If they are contacting me on an official government of Canada capacity, they will contact my government email assigned to me, the email assigned to by the government, because now an official, they know they contact me on a personal basis. Then they contact me on an official basis, and you have the nerve to sit on international public television and say it's a generic email. If you are going to create a generic email, then have an administrator who monitors that a generic email. Should there be important messages sent to that generic email? Now that make where people like they contact you, now people like they send on a messages, then people like they send on our emails them. There is no acknowledgement of emails because when I just press Control Delete. Control Delete and una call a generic email. If you are a minister, you are a minister of a sovereign nation, they contacted you through the official email listed on your website, and you have the kahunas to sit on international television and said you were not, your personal email wasn't contacted. Isn't your personal email for your personal affairs? You see, one can they confound and conflage and confool and mix up and box up things them. When I know they separate things them. There is no separation of power. There is no separation of duty. There is no separation. There is no ethics. There is no professional ethics. Because professional ethics demand and dictates that you cannot mix your personal business with your official business. Your official business is that of the state. So when they contact you, they will contact you through the official email of the state and not your personal email, sir. But we will not get respect for the work they want to do. We will not get respect for the citizen. We will not get respect for the state. In fact, we are not able to make the division, a clean break between official capacity and personal life. This is what happens. And you think you were justified in sitting on international platform and spewing such garbage. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. On your part, acknowledge that which you played. Acknowledge your part. Nobody no go point finger at you because you acknowledge your part. But to sit and twist and contour and camouflage and mask. Now don't use for Gona 98.1 and AYV and mask and camouflage and contour, you know, and paint and repaint. But this time you couldn't contour, camouflage, repaint and repaint and overpaint. How about the truth? How about, yes, this happened. However, it got out of control and it led to this. How about that? How about that? Listen, the facts speak for themselves, okay? The facts speak for themselves, and no need for deliberate on this too much. I want to go to, we closing video we'll go use for today, where there be a BBC interview after the fact. After the fact, a BBC interview after the fact, just looking at the situation and how to maybe remedy up. Because right now I don't even think a bandage can hold this thing. You know? So until I have to put small glue. Let us go to that BBC interview. A brief interview there, 3 minutes and 28 seconds, and then we'll go try for wrap up the show because we don't pass the top of the hour.
Around the world are witnessing a new wave of protests. A recent one in Sierra Leone turned deadly after police officers clashed with civilians. Anti-government demonstrations are normally restricted there, and civil society groups say the country's laws are making it hard for people to express their frustrations. The BBC's Rola Othiambo reports from Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown.
The police and the military are patrolling this neighborhood in Freetown after anti-government protests were sparked by the rising cost of living. Even after days, tensions are still high. Inflation had already increased because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it reached new highs this year. People here are either eating too little or nothing at all.
Feeding is going to be very difficult.
Fatu says her family has had to cut down on groceries.
We used to buy a bag of rice, mostly now buy a half bag of rice. Because there are other expenses we have to take care of, like house rent is increasing.
A protest 2 weeks ago shocked the nation as police used force to disperse civilians. Most protesters were young and unemployed. They were calling for the resignation of President Madabio and asking the government to address the growing food insecurity.
Why protest is so common in Sierra Leone? It's because of what will happen. They're afraid of what the police are going to do if we come out. Harassment, tear gas, arrest some.
According to the country's laws, anyone who wants to organize a protest needs to notify the police. If they don't, they could be fined or jailed.
The aftermath of the August 10th protest has left people here scared of what would happen if they speak up. I've met families who are in hiding because their loved ones were allegedly shot during the protest. They fear being arrested by the government.
More than 120 people were arrested. Authorities say 5 police officers and 25 civilians were killed. An investigation has been launched, but human rights groups doubt it will lead anywhere.
Issues like this involving security forces and the citizens, there is an independent police complaints board who should really lead on this, but we are not seeing them leading this.
The rise in food prices is a global problem. Countries like Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, Malawi, and Kenya have also been rocked by protests.
We don't produce enough rice.
President Bio says he is aware of the problem and the government is trying to address it.
With the prices of things just going up, I cannot protect the people of this country. The only way I can do, what I can do, is to make sure that we cushion the effect of what is happening elsewhere.
As many people wait for the outcome of the investigation, a majority are hoping that the government takes action to ease the economic burden. As for Futu and her neighbors, they're praying for a better tomorrow and for families to be able to bury their loved ones whose bodies are still being held by the government. Brodo Diambo, BBC News, Freetown, Sierra Leone.
So, I would like to acknowledge all of the international news agencies whose summaries and clips we've used on the show. The BBC, CNN International, CNN, BBC Focus on Africa, and Al Jazeera. I thank them all for availing their summaries and for us being allowed to use them. It is not easy to get, a balanced composition of news, especially in the areas and in some of the complexities that surrounds what we are dealing with in Sierra Leone. But anyways, cut matters short, there has been a committee set up to look into what took place on the 10th. I would have read the names of the people that formed the committee. I would have read the names of the various people that formed this committee. But una know for say, me na somebody where they deal with honesty. They deal with honesty. And because they deal with honesty, for me, for Sidona Yasu, and read out the names them of the people them where the president selects, for then at this committee also, it's going to take a lot out of me. It is going to take a lot out of me. Because I honestly believe it does not show inclusion, it does not show diversity, it does not show cohesion, it does not show inclusivity. And I'm really afraid of what will be the outcome of these investigations. I am afraid. But for your benefit, we don't go far on the show. For your benefit, make I take few minutes and make a call this out. State House Official Office of the Press Secretary, 24th August 2022, public notice. The general public will recall that on Friday, 12th August 2022, His Excellency Brigadier General Retired Dr. Julius Maada Bio, the name de Longo, addressed the nation and assured that an investigation will be instituted into the event of Wednesday, 10th August 2022. Accordingly, it has pleased His Excellency Brigadier General retired Dr. Julius Maada Bio to announce the establishment of a special investigation committee to examine both the immediate and underlying causes, sources of financing, execution, and consequences of the instruction, as well as the response of security forces. The composition of the Special Investigation Committee is as follows. Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi Esquire, Chairman; Lawrence B. Bassa, Security Sector Expert, Secretary, Executive Director, Legal Aid Board; National Security Coordinator, Office of the National Security; President, Sierra Leone Bar Association of Journalists; President, Sierra Leone Bar Association; Executive Director, Defense of Children International; National President, Women's Forum, Sierra Leone; President, Interreligious Council of Sierra Leone; National Chairman, Council of Paramount Chiefs; Chairman, Independent Commission of Peace and National Cohesion; Chairman, Political Party Registration Commission; Chairman, Independent Media Commission; Chairman, Retired Senior Police Officers Association; Chairman, Sierra Leone Ex-Servicemen Association. Look into these titles. You go do your research. See, look at the narratives of these people. Look at the saying of these people. See what in some of them people here done the talk. And search your own conscience and let your conscience speak to you whether there will be biases, partiality, or neutrality. Remember, I say biases, partiality, or neutrality. Now, no misquote me. I put 3 keywords them. I left that side so. I left am so. I left am so. But what I will tell you tonight is for every Sierra Leone, for everything where I don't talk but during these 4 shows, so it take me a whole month for go through this event, because this na show number 4, and if na show number 4, it mean for say we start from 1, 2, 3 till we don't can end inside 4 show. So it took me a whole month to clean this up, to make sure say I leave no stone unturned, for make sure say I talk about the event step by step by step by step. If you have a reason to fight, if you have a reason to cry foul, if you have a reason to say but why, I urge you to divert that energy. Starting tomorrow, September 3rd to October 4th. Waiting they happen, I go repeat them again. Registration for election. No go register usa you dey work. No go register near usa you dey work. No go register near usa you dey sell. No go register near usa you pikin dey go school. Register near usa you tap, usa you dey live. Because when 10 come for vote, when the votes they come, now that side day, I then go allow you for go vote. Let all of these happenings and everything that I have said within the last 4.5 years, let it be your guide and your motivation in registering. We go play the video from the mayor. We explain how the process they go. But as we play that video day for exit today, I tell una tata, may God bless we all. May God keep we all. I've overstretched this because I needed to finish this segment today. So we go over a little, about half an hour. Something that I don't intend to do, but sometimes you got to do what you have to do. And myself within Aya, may God watch over me. May God watch over me family them. May God watch over we all. And waiting we defend at this world. May God, if we defend them in honesty, sincerity, and truth, may God help we reach to we destination, we desired destination. Unotata. And una not forget, next week It's going to be explosive. I will leave no stone unturned. We will look at culture. We will look at tradition. We will look at the sponsors. We will look at the aiders. We speak nudity. Yes, we speak nudity. Because that is also part of Salone issues. Una, thank you.
Mina Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown, and I come to tell Famble and say, from the 3rd of September to the 4th of October, the registration for vote inside next year 2023 elections go day on. The registration will happen all across Freetown in every single ward, and each ward get different centers. It's important for let we all come out, now we host them and go register. Not talk say you dey uphill or you dey down slow-mo, so you no go able, you no go meet up. This one is so important because not only now we right, but now we civic responsibility. So usai ever you dey na this Freetown, indeed usai ever you dey na this Salone, and while you grab and go register. And I'll tell you now something very important. Not to all the center, then they open at the same time. So you get for watch carefully and listen, let you know who stem the center where they near you and us the open for registration. Some center then go open in the first 15 days of the registration. The other one then go open the next 15 days. Make sure say you register near Usa you tap. No go register near your working place or Usa you the sell market because on that day we will count votes on the 24th of June 2023. It's not go possible for let you go far away. So let all man grab and go register. Register near Usa you day. Register for make sure say you make full use of your right for vote and be a part of the determination of the history of we country. Fumble them una tenki. Grab, go, register.
Indeed, grab, go, register. Well, we poll question for today now is the $25 fee for security at the Freetown International Airport justified? So £7 say yes, £47 say no. The £7 equals 13%, the £47 equals 87%. May God bless you all. Onotata.
So that we